Outgrowing people doesn't make you a bad person. It means that you've grown in a different direction. Welcome to another episode of the Pretty Aligned Podcast, the space where we shift perspectives, reframe the way we think, and step into alignment with who we're truly meant to be. I'm your host, Octavia Darling. And every week, we'll have real conversations that helps you reframe your mindset, overcome limiting beliefs, and create a life that feels good from the inside out. So grab your coffee, tea, your journal, or just your open mind and get ready to receive. Let's get into it. Not everyone is meant to go where you're going. And this is a valuable lesson that I have learned over the past year. Just because you have outgrown someone, it does not mean that you've stopped loving them. Because sometimes growth simply takes people in different directions. The guilt from letting someone go only comes when you feel like you're abandoning them, when actually you're just protecting your peace. Now, if you're struggling with letting someone go so that you can grow, I'm going to give you 3 things that I would do in order to navigate through this process. The first thing is to accept that growth naturally changes relationships. It also changes conversations, priorities, and environments. You may be experiencing the shift where you have different goals, different lifestyles, and even different values than the people that you have in your circle. And this is an indication that you may be outgrowing them only because you're moving in a different direction. I had a friend, a long-term friend, who I never thought that our relationship would ever end. I thought that we were locked in for life until I noticed about a few years ago, actually, how we were outgrowing each other. And it wasn't because the person was bad or they did anything ill or malice towards me or vice versa. It simply was because life was taking us on different paths. So when that time came for us to end our friendship, it was easier for me to let her go in love because I knew I was growing in a different direction. And I also learned to accept that she just wasn't supposed to come with me in this season. I learned that everything has a season. That goes for relationships, that goes for jobs, that goes for your lifestyle, that goes for your mindset. Everything has a season. And what happens with seasons? They change. The second thing that I would do is stop feeling responsible for everyone's comfort. At some point, you will realize that your growth may make others uncomfortable, but that doesn't mean that it's wrong. And during this time, you may experience people pleasing, right? Because you know that you're going in a different direction, but you still want this person to come with you. So you'll do whatever you need to do to make sure that they are pleased with the moves that you're making or the decisions that you have, when in reality, that's not your responsibility. But you may experience this because you have fear of disappointing others or fear of saying no to the things that no longer aligns with you. And as a result, you are shrinking yourself. You are not even living up to your greatest potential because you are so concerned about what everyone else thinks about how your growth looks. You are so concerned about hurting someone else's feeling because you need to let them go in order for you to grow. It is not your responsibility to make sure that someone else is comfortable with the change that you're about to make. Because ultimately, you're responsible for your choices. You're not responsible for everyone's reactions to them. The third thing that I would do is create boundaries that protects your peace. Hello, we protect our peace over here. If it costs you your peace, it is way too expensive. Boundaries actually create healthy relationships. So this may look like you saying no to those invitations to go to those environments that you shouldn't be in. This may also look like being mindful of how you're spending your time. Right? Sometimes we may find ourselves with too much idle time. And when we have too much idle time, that can be a little dangerous because we end up doing things that we shouldn't do, or just for the sake of being fulfilled in that moment. It's like a temporary fix. So when you set your boundaries, make sure that you enforce them with love. It's okay to tell someone, hey, you know what? I'm choosing not to drink this month, so if you don't mind, I would really appreciate that you do not invite me into any settings where alcohol is involved so that I don't feel pressured to engage with it. Or boundaries may look like, hey, you know what? I'm actually trying to cut back on frivolous spending. So I'm only going to be able to hang out with you guys maybe twice this month instead of every weekend. That way I can regain control over how I spend my money. Boundaries may also look like putting your phone on do not disturb, or just silencing your notifications overall, because if you know, you know, Octavia does that daily. And the reason why that's a boundary for me is because I know when I need to be focused on an important task, my attention span, it is not hard for me to go on a tangent. And by tangent, I mean pick up my phone and scroll or get lost in conversations that has nothing to do with what I need to be focused on. So what I've learned to do is set a boundary, not for just the person who's reaching out for me, but also myself. So that looks like me putting my phone on do not disturb, but also leaving my phone in a different room so that I don't feel tempted to pick it up. Now let's get into these mindset shifts that I encourage you to make. Outgrowing someone doesn't mean that you don't love them. It's okay to still love someone and let them go. Somebody needs to hear that. I'll say it one more time for you. It is okay to love someone and still let them go. It is okay to go on different life paths. It is also okay to learn to accept that everyone does not belong in every season of your life, because you can appreciate what someone meant to your life without expecting them to stay in every chapter. The second mindset shift to make is that my peace deserves protection. I strongly believe that peace is tied to emotional maturity. When you mature from an emotional standpoint, you'll realize a lot of things has been tampering with your peace of mind. So instead of hanging around those friends where they're always talking about drama, or they operate from a lack mindset, or they don't support your lifestyle or the one that you're building, this may look like you choosing more aligned relationships to associate yourself with and regaining your self-respect. Protecting your peace is so necessary for the life that you're building. Yesterday, I had reached out to a friend and I basically gave them a little recap of my day. And I told them, I said, today was interesting. I can feel a shift happening within that is going to require me to attain more self-control and to really be mindful of my thoughts. And when I said that, immediately I experienced peace in that very moment. See, I'm learning how to control my energy and my reactions better. With that being said, I also notice how with this next season I'm going in, there are going to be people, places, things, habits that I'm no longer going to be able to associate myself with. And it's all because I'm growing and I'm heading on a different path. But although I'm letting them go, I'm sending them away with love. There's no love lost here. It's only growth. Because at the end of the day, You do not have to apologize for becoming someone that your old life no longer recognizes. Let's get into these relatable scenarios. The first relatable scenario is being called different. How many of you have experienced at some point in your life where people address you as being different? They recognize that you're different. They call it out every time they have an encounter with you. Oh, Tay, you're different. I remember you used to do this. You used to act like that. You used to have a low tolerance. You're different now. I used to take offense to that because I didn't understand why people felt the need to always identify how I am different. It kind of came off as, oh, you're different, and your difference isn't welcomed, or your difference is unwelcoming. But after doing much spiritual work, I realized that that is such a major compliment. Yes, I am different. How often do we associate someone saying you're different with, oh, you think you're better than us? Come on, let's talk about it. Because that, to me, is a common reaction. When someone say we're different, we think that they're coming from a negative space. But I encourage you to reframe your mindset and take it as a compliment, because if someone that you're close to notices differences in you, positive differences, that means that you're doing the work. You're growing, you're expanding, and they recognize it. Changing isn't betrayal, because growth often changes your priorities. The second relatable scenario is feeling guilty for saying no. You finally start protecting your time, your peace of mind, and all of a sudden, you feel like you're disappointing everyone. Well, I'm here to say this. Every yes that you give to someone that you don't want to say yes to is a no that you're saying to yourself. It is important to make sure that your choices aligns with your values. And the fourth scenario is missing that old friendship. You cherish the memories, but you know that that friendship no longer supports the person that you are becoming. If you're experiencing this, let me encourage you with something I had to learn. It is possible to grieve a relationship and know that you still made the right decision. Here are some relatable points that I really want you to take note of. Growth often changes your circle. Not every relationship is meant to last forever. You don't have to choose guilt over growth. Boundaries help healthy relationships thrive. You can love people and still need distance. Emotional maturity means accepting that not everyone will understand your journey. And peace is something that you cultivate and protect. Now, here are some questions that I really want you to reflect on this week. Have I been shrinking myself in order to keep certain relationships comfortable? Which relationships bring me peace? And which relationships leaves me emotionally drained? Am I holding on because of history or because this relationship aligns with who I am today? Where do I need stronger boundaries? What kind of friendships and relationships do I want to cultivate in this next season of my life? And am I allowing guilt to keep me from growing? Now, the actionable step that I want you to make this week is to take inventory of your relationships. Ask yourself, which relationships encourages my growth, which relationships challenge me in healthy ways, and which ones may no longer align with the life that you are building. Then choose one boundary or one conversation that honors your peace without compromising your kindness. By the way, y'all, happy July. Happy new month. Happy second half of 2026. There are so many great things that is waiting for each and every one of you that tunes into this podcast. I strongly believe that if you have been doing the work, literally taking the steps, reframing your mindset, letting go of what no longer serves you, changing your environment, leveling up, that you're about to step into a season where you are going to live the most abundant lifestyle that you have ever lived. I strongly believe that everything that you've been praying for, that you've been manifesting, is going to come into fruition in this next season. Remember to commit yourself to consistency of showing up daily, sticking to those routines, aligning yourself with healthy habits, doing the work, and being true to yourself, showing yourself grace, and allowing yourself to be. July is giving abundance, it's giving clarity, it's giving self-love, it's giving embodiment. You have arrived to the identity that you have been building this entire time. Now it's time for you to show up confidently. You already know what it takes. Do it. And make sure you encourage others along the way. I am excited for this month. I am excited for the new beginnings, the new things that are happening. I was thinking earlier during my morning walk how I really want to grow my YouTube channel for the Pretty Aligned podcast. If you're not following us there, make sure you do, because some changes that I'm going to make, and I'm going to share this with you all. You are the only ones who's going to know before everyone else, is that I'm going to start posting my vlogs, and I usually do them bi-weekly, but I'm going to start posting those vlogs on my YouTube channel for this podcast show because they just align with the brand. They do. So make sure you're following us. I'll link it in the description box below. The vlogs that I usually post are about my lifestyle. They actually align wonderfully with these episodes. I literally show you how to take action on the advice that I give during these episodes, how to create your routines, how to implement healthy habits, how to let go, how to reframe your mindset, all the things. Those kind of vlogs will now be accessible on this channel. Thank you for hanging out with me today on the Pretty Aligned podcast. I hope that something in this episode gave you a fresh perspective or a new way to see yourself. Remember, small shifts create big change. If you love today's conversation, share it with a friend who needs it, and make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss the next reset. Until then, keep aligning, keep growing, and keep becoming the best version of you. I'll see you in the next episode.